Ba-ba-ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-ba-ba-bum.
Welcome back, people. Andrew had his a couple weeks ago, but this is lucky number 13 podcast for me. Woo! So real quick, want to put it out there while it is my lucky number 13 podcast. I am currently in the middle of getting over a cold. I blame my child nephew, who is 6.5 years old, who definitely was sick the day I drove him to the airport. I'm now sick. Anyway, despite being sick, I'm here to give you guys a podcast. It's kind of stuff I want to talk about. Specifically, so Andrew sent me a link to an article probably about a week ago, and it was about actually opening a Pokemon Center in London. And I know a lot of you that follow the channel and everything, you might not know super a lot about Pokemon. I'm really up in that news, and I'm minorly obsessed with that series. Anyway, Pokemon Centers are real-life locations that are designed kind of like a Pokemon Center, but they're giant stores solely dedicated to Pokemon items. And it's really cool. There's lots of, stuffed animals, promotional things. There's cool stuff that you can find only at any kind of Pokemon Centers. And the big ones, most of them are in Japan, which makes sense. But I know there are some international ones, and this one was, I believe it was plans and rumors to be in London, which is really cool. I know there's a good number of London-based individuals, not just London-based, but England-based individuals that are into Pokemon. I have a couple people I know personally that live over there. I also know a good number of YouTubers that I follow. Some of them are from the UK. Some of them are actually from England. So this is kind of big news for them. Hopefully, it works out in their favor because, that's cool. I wish there was a Pokemon Center nearer to me than New York City because I don't want to drive to New York City just to go to a Pokemon Center. And I don't have to fly internationally just to go to a Pokemon Center. But that's just me. Anyway, so Andrew kind of talked about that, and he said, what were my thoughts on that? And so I definitely agree that it's cool, and I love this idea of Pokemon Centers being, more popping up, but I think that we need to have them more widespread. I know Nintendo is the one part owner of this. I know Game Freak, they're the other big piece that is connected to that and everything like that. Pokemon has international recognition. It should have more dedicated stores in other areas. I understand, Disney stores were a big thing in the 90s, and now they're not as popular. Heck, Andrew and I were both from a small town in Pennsylvania. We had a Disney store for a while. So, I get it. They were everywhere, but a lot of them, didn't do super well because of the locations. I think that, Pokemon stores should have... I think they should base that, solely off of, interest in sales figures for their Pokemon games, cross-reference with Pokemon Go information. Some cities have lots of Pokemon stops and raids and gyms and all this other stuff. And I can vouch that Erie, Pennsylvania has a decent amount of that. So maybe, even if it's not a full Pokemon Center, maybe a mini one. Call it a Pokemart. I don't care what they call it. But bring some kind of Pokemon store here. You bet your butt I would be there. You bet your dollar I would be spending money there. Money I don't have, but I would be spending it. So definitely like Pokemon stores would be really cool to see more of that. But I'm going to riff off that a little bit. In general, we need to see more real video game stores, not just GameStop. My God. GameStop, just no more GameStop. Give us some real game stores. Give us something that, is dedicated to something. I'm not saying we need like a Nintendo store and a Microsoft store and a Sony store, no. But give us something that's like a dedicated, not like a secondhand store. Like there's plenty of secondhand game stores where you can buy old used games, still some new games, some consoles, things like that. That's cool, but Where are the things that are like dedicated game stores that aren't secondhand? That they're all, like, hey, we have the newest technology, we have some information, we have magazines, we know what's going on in the business. Like, there's none of that, and I think I'm connecting that also to some classics. Like, we still have comic book stores, but they're fewer and far between. I definitely know here in Erie, comic books, we really have one big comic book store here in town. And the other thing is game shops. And by game, I mean card games. I know a few years ago, there were like 4 or 5 different card game shops where you could go and buy and play Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon trading cards. Like, you actively could go there. And now I think the town might have 2, maybe? Like, I'm not even positive that there's 2 left. Like, those have disappeared. And I understand that it's, it's a dying thing. It's not super popular. But it feels bad for people that are in that community, like myself. I am not a Pokemon card collector. I am not a Pokemon card player. That is the one aspect of Pokemon that I do not understand, and I do not fall in line with it. I think it's really dumb. Part of it was, even as a kid, I recognized that the typing system was completely off and broken, and I had a problem with it. And I was very angry when it was Geodude was a fighting type, and that really bothered me as a kid. So I think that's part of the reason why I don't like the card game. I also find it really arbitrary, the numbers, because now a lot of the old cards can't be used against the new cards. There's like a really weird balancing issue. But you look at other games like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh!, they've done a really good job at balancing the new stuff and the old stuff. Yes, the newer stuff is, the preferable things because you can do more with it. But you can still run old school, like first gen, second gen card decks for both Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And still do decently well in normal play. Yeah, tournament play is a whole another set of rules, and it all depends on what tournament you're in. But for the most part, like casual playing, people really can play with any combination of cards from their entire generations for Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. But Pokemon is just, I'm sorry, pretty much other than like a Charizard, there's not much use for the old school cards. You really need these newer ones that have 100, 200, 300 health in Stage 2, whereas back then, Stage 3 cards, only a couple of them had 100 plus health. So, I mean, as far as the card game's concerned, I just don't get Pokemon. I'm sorry. But back to my original point, I miss the card shops, and I wish we had more of that. I wish we had those game shops where, you could get together with people in the same community and just get together and have fun and play the card games and everything. I know a couple of my coworkers and a couple former coworkers of mine are really big into Magic, and they occasionally will get together with their own friends and play, and that's really cool. But like, what happened to that community? It disappeared. And segue into something else that you guys will see at the end of the month, Dungeons and Dragons. It's starting to see a rise in popularity again. People are talking about it more. It's in the news more. A lot of celebrities are known for playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it's kind of getting out there, and people are like, oh, maybe it's not bad. And people are trying it, and they're finding it's actually not that bad. It's actually a lot of fun. I know definitely the rule set for 5e has really made it accessible to everyone, rather than the old way where there was a lot of nitpicky and hand-holding stuff. I know 5e has done a lot to make that a little more widespread. Not grand, widespread. The reason I say this is because I'm also a D&D person, and so is Andrew, and so is Joe. So 3 people you've actively seen and heard on the channel. We are all into Dungeons and Dragons, actually. So we have a special Dungeons and Dragons video coming up at the end of the month. The last Saturday of the month, I believe. Let me just check my schedule. Yep, the exact last day of the month, August 31st, is a Saturday, part of our special run that you guys have seen over the summer, where we're doing special videos on Saturdays. The last Saturday to wrap up the summer, we have a special Dungeons and Dragons video for you guys. you've wanted more in real life stuff. You wanted to see us a little bit more. So this is kind of another opportunity for you to see that. So please, by all means, check that out when it comes out. I know it's quite a ways away still. We filmed that probably a few weeks ago, but it's just kind of been sitting there. Personally, I forgot to upload it. That's why it's at the end of the month, but, we'll get there. So anyway, I'm totally rambling, and I'm kind of all over the place on nerd stuff, but, I figured this was the chance for me to talk about my nerddom, my interests. So yeah, I am a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I am way too financially irresponsible to get into Magic. I'll be honest, because it's an expensive card game habit. And I know for a fact that if I get into it, I will easily drop $200 on cards, and that will not end well. So I'm purposely avoiding Magic. I might play with other people that have decks ready and be like, hey, you want to learn how to play? I'll be glad to sit down and do it, but I don't want to invest that money because I know I can't afford that. But some of the things that you've seen on the channel, some of the things that you're going to be seeing on the channel, as always, we want to know your feedback. If you really like something that we do, let us know. We try to put out content that's not just for us, but for you guys as well. You guys are our viewers. We care about you guys. We want to know what you want to see. So just, let us know. I actually did get a request from someone. They sent it to me through other means, but they had mentioned that they wanted to see some Fire Emblem stuff. For those of you that may not know Fire Emblem is a Nintendo series. It's a strategy role-playing game. It's a lot of fun. You might have heard, if you know any Nintendo Switch news, they just released a new game called Three Houses. It looks really fun. I want to play it. I haven't had the chance to buy it yet or play it, but it does look good. I've played a lot of the rest of the series. I got into it during the 3DS era when they were doing Awakening and Fates, and when they changed the style to be, more forgiving, so there wasn't the permadeath and everything, it really kind of allowed me to get into the series. I've been going back and playing, emulations of some of the older games, because, finding a copy for the Super Nintendo and, those things to be able to play on my own system is expensive. So I've just been emulating and playing them, and they're a lot of fun, and I enjoy them. So, it's something to kind of try, and I think we're going to... I talked to Andrew about it, and he seemed interested, so we're going to see what we can do about that. Because it's emulation, who knows how the recording's going to work. We'll test it and figure out what's going on. So if that ends up working, you guys might see some Fire Emblem stuff coming up. For sure, I can tell you right now, for those of you who may have enjoyed some of the Mass Effect videos that we did, almost a year ago, I want you to know that we are planning on starting recording some of Mass Effect 2. I know we took a nice hiatus from that because towards the end, I know you guys have made comments on it, and we definitely agree. We put out, I think 2.5 weeks worth of Mass Effect videos straight and nothing else, and that was way too much Mass Effect, and we understand that. As you can see now, the way we've been doing the videos, we've been spreading them out a little bit more, kind of varying up the content so it doesn't get stale. So we'll definitely be doing that with Mass Effect, just so you guys are aware. But if you enjoyed Shaq Shepard and you enjoyed Andrew failing miserably and being ridiculous and raising questions and blowing my mind as well as hopefully your minds about the game series, definitely you're going to want to check that out. Like I said, Andrew and I are planning on recording some of those episodes coming up here in a little bit. We're not sure how soon we're going to start that recording, but since I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, I'm excited about it. I hope anyone that's a Mass Effect fan that watches our stuff is excited about it. I'm definitely excited to see Shaq Shepard return, and I'm actually really excited because if anyone is a fan of Mass Effect and knows about Mass Effect 2, it's a very different game, and I'm interested to see what Andrew does with that game. It's a whole new system. We'll see how he does. Let's see. We're doing that. Definitely let you guys know, just like last time, when we finish Chris Redfield's campaign in Resident Evil 6, we're going to take another little break from Resident Evil. It's a lot. Whenever Andrew and I record Resident Evil, we try to record 1 to 2 chapters in a recording session. So we do like 4 straight recording sessions of just levels for Resident Evil, and it takes hours, and it drags on your soul. They're fun games, but boy, do long recording sessions drag. So just so you're aware, when we are done with Chris's campaign, we're going to take another little break before we jump into the next campaign. I don't know which one's the next campaign. I know Andrew knows, or he might not remember off the top of his head, but we're going to take a tiny little break from that. It's not going to be quite as long as the last time. I think we went, like 4 or 5 months between it. I think we're only going to do like a month or 2 break, just to kind of, rest our minds, try something else. Let's see. Was it last week? Yes. So I keep record of all the videos that go up. And if you guys caught last week, Saturday, the 10th, we put up a new video called Earth Defense Force. Please let us know if you like that video. If you haven't checked it out, you should go check that one out. Andrew knew about it in name only, and I knew about it in name only, and we played it for the first time together, and oh my god, it's beautiful, it's fantastic, graphically it's nothing to write home about, but boy is it fun. Truly, Andrew and I have a lot of fun playing that game, so regardless of anything else, you will see that game go to completion, because we love it, and it's so much fun. And it might be one of those staple arcades where we might just throw up a random episode after we've beaten the game just for poops and giggles. So, you might see it show up a lot. We've just, had a lot of fun playing it so far. But yeah, we actually have a lot of fun stuff we've been doing. And it's kind of interesting. So, real quick, before I wrap things up, next week... excuse me. Next week will be a special joint podcast, actually. So you won't hear Andrew's solo podcast, and you won't hear my solo podcast. Pretty much, Andrew and I we wanted to do a joint podcast for a while, and we've been talking about it, and we still plan on doing a couple more. We're not sure how many yet, but we do plan on doing a couple joint ones together. But... so next week, we've already recorded the one for next week, and it's actually an impromptu podcast, and it's solely because while recording some of the Earth Defense Force videos that you're going to be seeing over the next 2 weeks, we had a total computer meltdown problem, much like we did in the old days. The only difference is we kept the audio recording the entire time. So rather than, you guys just seeing us cut an episode short and come back with the next one fixing it, we decided to give you a little behind the scenes, just kind of audio of what we were doing and what we were talking about. So next week, I think you're going to enjoy it. Andrew and I kind of talk about video games. And I know that's really broad considering we're a gaming channel. But what I mean by that is we talk about video games we like, video game news. We talk a little bit about movies. It's a whole lot of fun. I really suggest that you check it out. I know it's not the regular podcast. I know it's a little bit different. But I really hope you enjoy it. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Again, I apologize if my volume is all over the place. I'm sick, as you can tell. My throat hurts. It's been hard to talk. But I wanted to at least give you guys a good podcast, get you something to talk about, get you something to think about. As always, I don't try to push it. You don't have to like this video. You don't have to comment on it, but definitely, like our page, subscribe to it. We put out a lot of videos. Andrew and I are going to continue using this summer upload policy that we've been doing, where we do Mondays, Wednesdays, regular videos, Fridays, podcasts, and Saturdays, specials. We're going to keep that going into the fall. If, we have an abundance of videos, we might upload a couple extra ones during the weeks. But for the most part, we're going to keep this pattern. It seems to work really well for you guys. We haven't heard any complaints about there being too many videos and not enough time to watch them. If you do want us to upload more videos at a time, or space them out or whatever, let us know. If you want us to change the times up a little bit, because as you know, our regular videos go up at 11 every morning. Well, every morning that the videos go up. Our podcasts are at noon, and our specials are at 7 p.m. on Saturdays. We can change that as things go forward. You just let us know. Comment, send us a message, send us an email, talk to us on Facebook, talk to us on Instagram, talk to us on Tumblr. I know Tumblr is a dying platform, but we have it because it's easily connected to Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, surprisingly, even though it's a dead platform. So definitely, reach out to us somewhere. Let us know what you think. We definitely want to hear what you want us to talk about, what you want us to play. As always, let us know. If you're someone that knows Andrew or myself personally, or anyone else that's worked on 4Gamers personally, please reach out to them. Tell anyone what you want to do. If you want to see more of them on the show, if you want to hear more from them, if you want something else going on, let them know and tell them to tell us. Andrew and I are the ones that run the channel. So if you have a suggestion, we're the ones that need to know. But if you tell someone else, by all means, as long as it gets back to us, we'll be sure to put it in. As you saw, Megan makes a lot more appearances. You guys wanted more Megan. We're giving you more Megan as much as we can. Anyway, it's been fun. I'm going to go, sneeze and cough a whole bunch because I've talked for 20 minutes straight. You guys have been wonderful. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And don't forget to check out Earth Defense Force Episode 2, which goes up tomorrow, Saturday at 7 p.m. So check that out. I think you guys will really enjoy it. I know Andrew and I did. All right. Bye, everyone.